So today I'm preparing the sample for someone who wants a smooth finish on the outside of their house. But how do we achieve that sample is it takes a couple steps. You can see right here that I actually have some lath. I have the lath over the OSB. I have some trims on here. It's not quite 7/8 of an inch, but just for the sample purposes, this already weighs about 80 pounds, this sample right here. Today we're preparing the sample. We're doing the brown coat. We've already got the scratch coat on, and it's again, this is only 1/2 inch screeds, so we really don't have to put too much mud on before we can level out the surface and get it ready to achieve the finish coat, which is going to be a beautiful finish, smooth finish plaster on this. So here we go. This really doesn't take too long to do. I'm going to leave a little bit of scratch coat exposed over here so that you can see the different layers that we get to. Just spread this out here. Now I can scrape off this excess mud. Now I can scrape off this excess mud. Okay, now I'm going to take my rod. Got a rod around here somewhere, and it's over here. Take my rod. The sharpest edge of this rod is going to be, the most flattest edge of this rod is going to be on the side. So I'm going to drag it like this. Spanning my screeds. That's kind of yucky, huh? Uh-oh. Screed over there is kind of messing me up a little bit. Okay, now I'll let that take up for 5 minutes, come back and float it, and it'll be ready for the finish coat. So we've let this sample here sit for about 5 minutes, and it's already on fire and wants to go off. So I took my 5-inch neoprene float, and I'm closing it all in. I screeded it, so there's a lot of rocks from the sand showing in this. And as long as, you can go over this with acrylic or conventional stucco, this sample here. Problem is with acrylic, like there's a little low spot right in here. I don't know if you can see that on your end, but this is a little low spot right here that if you do this finish with acrylic, that will show. It'll be a little dip in the wall. But if you're going to be using conventional stucco, you know, conventional stucco goes on just a little bit heavier than acrylic. So you're pretty much going to be okay if you use just regular stucco. The problem is with regular stucco, it's going to crack a lot more than the acrylic, a lot more. So be ready for that. You tell the homeowner, for all you homeowners out there that think stucco isn't supposed to crack, well, you're wrong. There's two kinds of stucco: stucco that's cracked and stucco that's going to crack. So this stuff is guaranteed to crack, and that's one of the beauties of stucco. Sometimes it cracks just right, but sometimes you get a long crack, like right in the front of your house, and it's just the ugliest thing, like right up by your front door. You might not have a crack on the whole house, but you get up to the front door, there's a crack like that. You know, that's pretty discouraging. So most cracks are the result of the construction. You know, maybe the contractor didn't space the plywood just right, which is something I stress to my guys, you know, before they go out. I say, hey, look, take the saw with you, and I want you to rip those joints 1/8 of an inch to give the plywood room for expansion. Because if it doesn't have room to expand, then it's like my belly here. You know, it just goes right out, right in the middle. Everything just jets right out to you. Not on the ends. Nothing happens on the ends. What happens is the plywood is compressed by the ends. Even when the cold weather comes, the plywood tends to expand. It doesn't even have to get moisture on it. The cold weather will make that plywood expand and create cracks all over your stucco. But with acrylic finish, as long as you do a nice straight stucco walls, if and unless you don't want them undulated, because you know the majority of the time an acrylic finish is going to be undulated anyway. It's going to have waves in it, look like it's waving at you no matter how hard you work to get those walls true and flush. And the way to get the walls true and flush ideally is to tint the house with black plastic and bring in lights and shine them down the wall to emulate the sun shining on the wall. When the sun comes around a certain time of day, we call that ugly hour. And that's one of the times we really don't like to look at the wall. We especially don't like to go over to the home to pick up the check during ugly hour. You know, that just looks really bad. But So anyway, on these finishes here, just want to close in all those open cells. Maybe you can take your rod one more time. This is just a Darby, but normally we use a rod out in the field, and just check it one more time to make sure there's no high spots in the wall. Okay, and then just scrape it off like that. You can pretty much only go one way with it. You can't have both ways with it, but you could try. Just get it as close to balance vertically and horizontally as close as you can. And that's about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, okay?